Good morning and welcome to the Sky Spirit channel. If you're watching on the day that this is recorded, which is the 24th of March, or if you're watching live, then hello. If you're watching this in the future, then do take the messages, because remember, time as a linear concept is a construct of human beings. And in fact, if you look at, I think it was Einstein that came up with a theory that time is in fact like a three-dimensional object. And it can be folded. So really what happens in the past, the present and the future is all happening at the same time. I think there's a bit of quantum in there as well. I will look that up and try and sort of explain it a bit better. But it's basically saying that, there is no what happens in the future you have to wait for, because it's all happening at once. So my point being that if you see this video at a later date, even if it's 10 years down the line, then take the message with the reading, because there's a reason that you've been brought to the video. Right, so I'm going to try not to waffle on as much this morning. Quick word about astrology. Today, it's all about the Mercury retrograde. And as it usually does, it's possibly causing you problems in communication, just obstacles, just things going wrong. And we're coming up to quite a snazzy little alignment. And so the Sun conjoins with Mercury in Aries today, and you've got a couple of other planets in Aries as well. Aries is a spicy sign and, forceful, direct, but can be argumentative. So it's like there's that friction in the air, which is exacerbated by Mercury being in retrograde and the planets in Aries. So, just watch the temper today and watch for things heating up. There was something else that I wanted to say on astrology and I can't remember what it was. Nope, it's completely gone. But yeah, that's the main thing. Hi, Sunsills, how are you in the chat? I'm well, thank you. Enjoying the Monday here, Monday vibes. Right, so a bit of a collective reading here. So this is going to be a reading for everybody all at once. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Swords reversed, the Eight of Wands, and the Hermit. So this is talking about a need. There's some really underhand things going on. When the Queen of Swords is reversed, she can be a real B word. And this is sort of indicating that there's something nasty afoot. There's something that's unpleasant that's being said in communications or some news or something like that. Now, the Eight of Wands upright suggests to me that this is going to come really quickly today. So watch out for that sort of... I don't want to say unpleasant news, because I don't want to be sort of the voice of doom, but it's something which is, going to be enforced on us. And it's like a decision or a piece of information that's not particularly pleasant for us. I hate to sort of put my own interpretation on it, but it's like if you imagine there was something that came out that had been said about Gaza or something like that, felt a bit, oh gosh, not sure about that. So that's the sort of vibe I'm getting. But again, that's me bringing my personal opinion into the reading, which isn't always good. So just watch out for that today on a collective level. The third card is the Hermit, and the Hermit talks about a need to step back from something. So this is almost saying like, okay, so this, let's go along with it and say, okay, the world news isn't good. Something's gonna happen really quickly, really soon. But what you're being advised to do is just to stay back from it. Just take a step back emotionally, because I think, we've got so much media these days, and it's 24/7 news coverage from all sorts of different channels with all sorts of different biases and viewpoints, that it's difficult to step back from it, and it's not always helpful to be so involved on it. And I can be really guilty of that with them, like constant news coverage and that, and it never does you any good, because a lot of situations you can't do much about on a personal level, so it's just like really stressing. So I'm interpreting those cards to sort of reflect that need to step back from this news, take yourself off into nature if possible, just focus on something away from that, focus on your spiritual well-being, your mental well-being, that sort of thing. Right, so that was your collective reading. So I'm going to move now into the 12 card reading. So for this, whether you're watching now or whether you're watching now or whether you're watching in the future, which would also be now. So whether you're watching at this moment when I record this, or whether you're watching at a time in the future, choose a number between 1 and 12. You can think of your question. If you want to choose more than one card, that's perfectly all right too. You can do whatever you feel drawn to. And I shall do a quick extra shuffle here of the cards before I lay them out and we go into that reading. Still working on that riffle shuffle. I can do it on the table. I just can't do it. Like, some people just like do it up in the air. And I can't work out for the life of me how to do that without dropping the cards all over the place. So if anybody has any ideas on that, please let me know. And as it is, I'm just going to keep shuffling on the table. Right. Okay. So number between 1 and 12. Let's get these cards out. If you do have a question for me, please subscribe to the channel, first of all, and stick your question in the live chat, and I will come to those questions at the end of the reading. You can also email me any questions, naomi@skyspirit.co.uk. Right, today we're going to start with number 10. Oh, number 10, you've got the Tower. So, lovely Monday morning card. This indicates that there's something that needs torn down to the foundations and started again. So the Tower must fall for you today. So there's something that's coming to a head. There's a situation which has been massively stressing you out, or there's a situation that's been unfolding wrong. And this card speaks of a need to take that situation and tear it down, and just take it right down to the base, to the foundations, because it's going to need to be rebuilt. This situation that is bugging you so much feels like it's not something that can be changed, adjusted, worked with. There's no point sort of waiting for it to rectify, because it's something that needs knocked out the way and you need to start from the ground up. So the Tower, although it has a bad reputation as a tarot card, in tarot, there's no such thing as a completely negative card or a completely positive card. Both, each card has both of those things attached to it. So the Tower can mean an event happening which is shocking, which is a big shock to you, and changes things. So with the Tower, things aren't ever the same after it, if you see what I mean. It's a situation that happens that changes things. However, on the positive side, this can indicate, a situation like I've just described, something that isn't working, something that is already broken. And this card draws your attention to the fact that you basically need to get it out the way, sweep it away, and start again. Yes, Sunsills. Is it Sunsills? Yes. Then I can do you that guidance at the end of the reading. I'm just reading the chat there for anybody that thinks, what is she doing? Right, number 12. Number 12, you've got the Six of Swords reversed. This card indicates that you're having trouble leaving a situation behind. You know that you should move on. You know that it's not good for your higher purpose. But you're struggling to move away. You're sort of stuck in a rut. It feels like you want to break free, but it's very difficult for you to do so. And for some reason, you keep replaying the same events. It's like that saying that, you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And this feels very much like this is you at the moment. So it's like you're on Groundhog Day, like you keep doing the same thing and it's not going anywhere and you're stuck, and you can feel that sense of being trapped and tied to something which is holding you back. So the advice from this card, because remember, each card, positive, negative, this card is a great card when it's this way up, because it's about, you can see the illustration on there. This guy is like pushing the boat away and taking you, that's you there, perched on the end, to new places. So it's like going on a journey, moving away from something. It can be literal, it can mean travel overseas. When it's like this, it's like a blockage with that movement. So it's a problem moving on. I mean, it can be literal. It could be, there's, if you've got travel plans, watch out for problems. But usually it's more to do with an emotional sense of moving away. So if that's you today, number 12, then it's time to put some plans into action, because life really is too short to be stuck somewhere where you're not happy. Number one, you've got the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is a really good card for doing well at work and mastering skills. So if you're learning something new, or if you're learning a trade, a profession, if you're doing a course, something like that, this is like a little pat on the back to say that you're doing really well and you're learning new skills. If that doesn't apply to you, then this could be an indication that what you're doing, you are learning from. So are you in a learning situation? Is there an emotional thing going on that's teaching you something about somebody else? It's like that revelation of clarity. You've got a clear vision of this particular issue now, and you're learning from it, because this is a card of learning. And if you look at the illustration, there's this, he's like a stonemason, and he's using his chisel thing and putting the pentacles onto the coins there. And it's a very skilled profession as a stonemason. So this is a reflection of you. If you think about the tarot, the designs come from way back when. So this is when there was lots of stonemasons around, and it was a really skilled job. So fast forward to today, you still have stonemasons, but there's not so many of them, and their presence isn't so prevalent. So you haven't got one in every village, so to speak. Whereas, like, a long time ago, there would be many more of them, because everything was built from stone and everything was hand carved. So the relevance of the illustration today is translated into, a real skill that is just yours. So it's your skill. It's not something that everybody can do. It's something that you have a talent for. So if this is you, nurture this talent. If you're learning about somebody else, then take note of those lessons, because they're important. And if we don't learn from what we've shown, then it is my belief that we get those lessons again. So it's like, when you think, oh, I've got such bad taste in relationships and they always go wrong. Well, because you're making the same choices, because you're not learning from that situation, learning what to avoid, learning what the pitfalls are with your own decision-making processes. So it takes a little bit of objectivity to actually assess how you've come to decisions and what could be motivating them. So almost like take a little look into your history, into the psychology of why you do certain things as well. That was a good one. I like that one. Number two, lovely card. You've got the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is about domestic bliss. It can be marriage. It can be a stable relationship. It can just be feeling really settled at home or in a home environment. So it's like you're reaping the rewards of hard work. You're feeling like, your life is on a good course here. If there's somebody else in your life with you, a partner, then it feels like you have that sort of harmony going on. There could be celebrations in the near future. So there could be, a birthday or anniversary or something like that. And it feels like a good time to spend that time with family and just to appreciate what you have around you and the people that you have around you. If you are in a longer term relationship, then it could actually be a marriage, or taking that relationship to the next level could be approaching you as well. So it really is a card of domestic bliss and domestic harmony. It also indicates that if you've been lacking, then you will find what you need. So if you've been, for example, if bills have been tough and you've been struggling to make ends meet, then this is a card that tells you that the energy is changing and you can expect things to be more bountiful. So you can expect to reap the rewards of the seeds that you've sown. So you're reaping that harvest, and it's time for you to take your foot off the gas a little bit and to sort of understand that you're manifesting now what you've wished for, what you've put in motion is coming to you now. So be ready to receive those gifts and really enjoy this card. It's a great card to have. Number three, you've got the Hermit. I love the Hermit card. It's it can be indicate a need where it's sort of a good idea to take some time out to reassess a situation, and it's like looking within for answers. It can be as literal as a mean to as a need to isolate, or it can just mean sort of spiritually distancing yourself from a situation in order to go within to learn. And if you remember the other, what is that saying? It's the only way out is in. So sometimes you have to look within yourself to come to a solution and to do some real soul searching. So this card is talking about learning again, just like the Eight of Pentacles that we had is also a learning card. But whereas the Eight of Pentacles is almost like exterior learning and learning about other things, the Hermit can be more about learning about yourself, your triggers, your abilities, who you are, and why you are like you are. And it's important to know that before you take a step forward when you're making decisions about your future or your partnerships, or, just like if you've got a choice to make, if you've got a hard decision in front of you, then this is the card that's telling you, don't listen to anybody else's opinion. Don't rush into this. Take some time to consider your options and take some time in isolation, whether that is in physical isolation or just emotionally distancing yourself from people. So become the Hermit in order to shed the light. If you notice, the Hermit carries a lamp because he illuminates the way forward. And you only get to that space by assuming the role of the Hermit, going within, considering your options. Really look deeply into yourself spiritually, because the Hermit is like a spiritual guru. He's a spiritual teacher. So he invites you to connect with that part of yourself in order to illuminate the path forward. Number 11. Number 11, you've got the Five of Pentacles reversed. So this talks about you could have been experiencing a sense of loss recently. Because it's Pentacles, it could be material, financial, resources, just that feeling of everything's just running through your hands money-wise, and you're not quite sure where the next bit's coming from, or, it feels like you've lost out financially, or there's been financial issues, problems, losses, grief over that perhaps. And it's like that feeling of not being secure anymore, not feeling secure financially in your home, even in a relationship. However, because this is reversed, it's indicating that this period of feeling this intense loss is coming to an end. So it's like you are moving away from feeling a sense of despair over finances or over material things or over somebody that brings you security. So it's like you're moving out of that influence. And it can even mean that the money is flowing back to you. So the sense of security, or the sense of the finances, or the sense of material success is stopped flowing out and it started flowing back in. So this is a really good card for you to have when it's in this reverse position, because it does signal an absolute change of fortunes. So what you've lost will come back to you with this card. Number 9. Number 9, you've got the Eight of Swords reversed. So the Eight of Swords is a card which talks about being constrained and held back. But when it's reversed, it's talking about breaking free from a period where you felt like you're really held back, restricted, constrained, unsure of which way to go. You're a prisoner of your own decisions. You've made a prisoner of your own making. It's like, it's that sort of feeling of being held back, feeling of being this woman here. If you can see her, she has a blindfold on, and it's like she's not sure of the way forward because she can't see clearly. So she's going into this, she's struggling blindly to try and find a way out of the situation that she's in. And now it's been reversed, and that means that she's breaking free. So if this is your card, number 9, then the energy is with you to break free of a situation, to leave it behind and to start afresh. So it's like you're breaking free of the shackles and moving on to a new period of life. So really, really good card. And it talks about new beginnings and being able to see your predicament clearly. So whereas before you've been blindfolded about things and you might have been papering over the cracks or not really admitting to yourself what the real problem is, or if it's about somebody else, actually sort of being a bit blinded to their flaws or letting things go a little bit with them, just, putting up with stuff, making excuses for them. So it's like that blindfold is falling away and you can see things as they truly are, and you're now in a position to step forward away from the negative influences that have held you back. So that's a lovely card. Number 4, you've got the 9 of Wands reversed. So, I just nearly dropped the card here. It talks about the 9 of Wands reversed is like, when it's in the upright position, it's like standing your ground. So there's people coming at you, but you're standing your ground. But when it's upside down, it can be a little bit like you're feeling weakened by other people's attacks. And it's like the sort of obstacles in your path, there's adversity and it feels insurmountable. So it's like, whereas before you were standing your ground and defending your position, it feels like you've been battered down by other people's opinions or dominated by their advice, or maybe too many people have given you advice and it's like, what do you do? So it's like that feeling of a little bit feeling out of control, not quite sure about which way to go, not quite sure about what you were so determined about. So something that you were really standing your ground over, something that you were absolutely sure about, feels like that's got a little bit of a wobble on it now, and you're not in a position where you feel sure about something. So what this card invites you to do is stand back from that situation, okay? Because the energy is in that place today, and especially with Mercury being retrograde, it could be really problematic. So it could feel like you're not communicating with people, or they're telling you the wrong thing, you don't want to hear it, the advice you're getting is conflicting with what you feel in your gut, with what your soul is telling you to do. So the advice from this card today would be to really just leave it if you can today. It's a Monday if you're watching this today, and nobody should make big decisions on a Monday because we're all just recovering from the weekend and being shocked that it's gone so quickly. So if you're watching this on a Monday, put off that decision. If you're catching this in the future on any day, then do take that message as well. Because I am just being a bit flippant about the Monday thing. It can be any day. We all get these days. So if you can avoid this decision, if you can avoid pushing things forward, just rest on your laurels a little bit today and just accept. And if people say things that sort of jar you, try not to react. Just, there's a really good saying that I heard. It's of this medium called Suzanne Giesman, and she's brilliant. And she came up with it. She said, when things go wrong, she just says, well, isn't that interesting? And I was like, why would you do that? But when you try it, it really makes a difference. So every time something goes wrong, if you just say, well, isn't that interesting? And it sort of deflects that energy from getting tied up in that, oh my God, this is awful and woe is me and everything's gone wrong. Just, well, isn't that interesting? Because you're looking at it objectively. So you're like above yourself, looking down at the situation. And do remember that I always think, in 5 years' time, will it matter? Even in next year, will it matter? So it's that sort of objectivity that you just need to draw back and wait to feel your energy change. Number 5. Number 5, you've got the 2 of Cups reversed. This signals the end of something romantically. So if you're going through a rocky patch in your relationship, then perhaps the time has come to call time on that relationship, or perhaps that's an inevitable thing that's coming to a head anyway, because we've all been in those relationships where it's just going nowhere and you feel like you're on a timer and you're just going through the motions waiting for the inevitable end. So this could mean that. Now, if you're not experiencing any unhappiness, please don't think that your relationship's going to instantly fall apart, because it could mean cups are emotions, not absolutely definitely a relationship, because of course our emotions aren't just to do with the people that we have, close relationships with in an intimate sense. They can be friendships, they can be how we feel about ourselves, they can be how our emotions affected even by events around us. So the Two of Cups reversed is the ending of something emotionally, but not necessarily a relationship. And because I'm just doing one card readings here, it's impossible for me to surmise, oh well, it's a relationship, or oh well, it isn't, it's something else. I'm just giving you the possibilities because I'd need to draw more cards to clarify what this is actually talking about. But just be aware that that sense of ending emotionally is around you. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes things have to end, or you have to withdraw your emotional input from a situation which is like banging your head against a brick wall. So if that feels like you, if you feel like you've been putting too much into something on an emotional level, then it might be time for you to call time on that, or it might be time for you to draw back your energies because it's not getting you where you want to be. So however this loss, this ending is experienced emotionally, it's still a card with the energy of partnerships around it, because we learn from each partnership, whether that is an intimate partner, or whether that is somebody that we know, or just a period of how we are with ourselves. So we partner ourselves as well, because we have a view of ourselves, we have an opinion on ourselves. So we're always judging as if we're like at least two different people inside the same body. So there's always that voice of, yeah, that's not the right thing to do, or perhaps, yeah, you're doing really well here. So that is almost like a relationship with yourself. So that negative or positive self-talk could be considered an emotional bond with yourself. So just have a look around you. What is coming to an end, and what can be learned from it today? Number six, you've got the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is the knight in shining armor. So this could indicate a new love interest moving into your life. It can indicate something happening quite quickly. It's like it's passion, it's love, it's drama. So it's like, it's if you could describe it as like when you're really young and you fall in love with somebody, and like they're there really quickly, and your emotions just go from 0 to 100 in like half a day, and it just feels like this is the best thing ever, this person is the best person ever. So it's that sort of feeling, it's that exuberance, that joy in somebody coming into your life. So if this is a romantic interest, then brilliant, let me know. Or is it somebody who's because again, it's cups, so it's emotional. Is it somebody that just puts you in a better place emotionally, or offers them, a good friend, or somebody that you leave their company feeling better than you did before you saw them? Because there's some people, and even if you like them, you see them and then afterwards you're like, oh, I'm so drained, because they seem to be sucking the energy from you. But this is a person, whoever they are, that doesn't do that. This is a person that builds you up rather than knocks you down, that gives you life rather than sucks it out. So consider who this person is and look out for them today, because with it being a night, nights often come quite quickly. So this is something that's happening in the very near future. If you're on the lookout for a romantic partner, this is a great card to have, one of the best ones. And if you're not, if you're already with the partner of your dreams, then this could be, as we said, either somebody coming into your life that's going to be an emotional breath of fresh air, or it can be like a new phase of your relationships are moving into a place where you relate to each other better, where you're more emotionally connected, where the air has been cleared, where the night gallops in and saves the day on an emotional level. So it's like whatever's been holding that relationship back gets cleared. So it's gone. So this is a new phase. So it's a lovely card to have on any level. Number 7. Number 7, you have the 7 of Cups reversed. So the 7 of Cups reversed can be like you think there's choices, but it feels like you can't see these choices in front of you. You feel like giving up a little bit, and you don't feel like things are going in the right direction. It feels like somebody's been in competition with you, and it feels like they are taking they're taking the opportunities from you, and you feel like your hands are tied. And if you have a look at this card, if you can see this, these cups have each got a different thing in them. So you've got like a boy and a wreath and a sheet and a snake and a lizard and a castle and some flowers. So they're all symbolic of different aspects of your life and different choices that you're given. And when it's upside down, it's like those choices are still there. It's just you can't see them. It's like you can't see the wood for the trees. So what is it, number 7, that's clouding your judgment? And what is it that's keeping you from achieving what you want to achieve? So what is it that's keeping these opportunities? Like they feel like they're out of your reach, although they're actually in real life, they're not out of your reach. It's just a mindset. So it's just the reverse energy of all those choices, because they're still there. It just feels blocked. You feel like you can't reach them. You're feeling disempowered. You're feeling a bit stuck, a bit stagnant, a bit stale, a bit like, oh, same old, same old. And this card invites you to do a little bit of a shake up. So give yourself a bit of a kick up the ass and think, let's look at this more positively. All right, I can't do X, but I can do Y. All right, well, I can't do Y, but I can do Z, and perhaps Z is better anyway. Remember that, what's meant to be will be. And I don't know if sometimes I think that's a great saying. Other times I think, yeah, it doesn't really mean much. But it depends on how you see fate and how you see life choices and destiny. That's the word I'm looking for. Are things laid out in front of you and they're unchangeable, or are they is everything subject to change based on your decisions? Personally, I think most things are subject to change based on your decisions. I think there's some big things in life that are predestined, but I think the minutiae, the details, and how you reach those big stages can be changed by the decisions that you make every day. So this card is inviting you to look at your decision-making process, to look at how you deal with choices, opportunities. How do you react when you feel like a choice has been taken away from you? Do you sort of retreat into your shell and do the, chuck your toys out the pram, spit out the dummy? If that's you, maybe a little bit of honesty with yourself about that, because it's, most people do that, and we all do that. I'm massively guilty of doing that. But it's like, if you can catch yourself doing that and look at it objectively, then you have that opportunity to give yourself some self-talk about, okay, I didn't get to do this. However, the plan for the future is this. I'm planning to do that. I will do this instead. So if you're feeling this energy today, like your opportunities have been taken from you, then I invite you to just take a little bit of a step back and even get a piece of paper and write down, like pros and cons of different things, or mind mapping, or, just making a plan to move forward. And I find that, writing things down and making plans, even making to-do lists. I love a to-do list. And then, working out how you're going to get from point A to point B and all the little stages and things that you're going to do between those 2 points. I find it really helps. Otherwise, you can feel a little bit cast adrift and like, just waiting for things to happen to you rather than making things happen. And you always feel better making things happen, because even if things go wrong, it's your own fault. It's much better than sort of waiting to be dealt the hand of fate to deal you the cards. No pun intended. Right, number 8. Finally, number 8. This is the last card of this reading. This card talks about juggling things and being the person who's spinning the plates and having a lot of energy at the moment, and being able to maintain that energy in order to take on board lots of different tasks at once. So you're in a position where you're managing things well, you're being very balanced, your resources are sort of distributed well. It feels like you're on top of everything. But there's always that feeling that there's a little bit of a word of warning that comes with this card. And it's like, it's talking about the reversal of the card, where the plates, there's too many plates spinning, and you can't keep going around them all and tapping them all and keeping them spinning, because you take on too much. So it's like you're in a good position now, but while you're in this positive state, is it a good idea to look at, can some of those tasks be delegated? Is there an opportunity for you to accept help from somebody? Or is there an opportunity now to look at what's coming in the near future, what's just around the corner, making plans to deal with that? Because it can mean that, you know, the plates come crashing down when you take on too much. So it's really a card that's reminding you, even though you feel like you've got everything going on at the minute and it's like you're cooking on gas, everything's working really well, you feel like you've got the energy to do it, it's like that isn't a bottomless reserve of energy. It doesn't go on forever, and these things have a habit of turning on their heads. So just be aware of, you know, it feels like you're walking that thin line between doing a lot and taking on too much. So you might want to rein yourself in a little bit. Because, you know, when you feel really good, it's sometimes really easy to go, yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that. Being that yes person, saying you'll take on more, saying you'll help somebody or do something, or committing socially, or, you know, not really wanting to go to somewhere socially, but saying yes anyway, because you don't feel that you could say no. So this is a card that reminds you that no is a powerful word, and there's nothing wrong with using it. And you don't even have to give an excuse. If you don't want to do something, and just say no, thank you. You know, there's no need to have to come up with an excuse why. Your excuse is that you don't want to, or that you are too busy, as you are at the moment. So don't be frightened of saying no, and don't take on too much, because as much as we all love this energy to continue forever, it's great to be able to, you know, do everything at once. The sad factor is that life goes up and down, and our energy goes up and down. So be aware of that, and make sure that you're not overstretching. Right, so that's the the daily reading. And I've got a couple of people in the chat that would like something more personal. So Sun Solace, I hope I'm saying that right. I haven't got my glasses on, and like I can't see if that's an L or two I's. In which case it would be Sun Cease, wouldn't it? I think. So please forgive me for massacring the name there. Right, so you would like guidance from your spirit guides if possible. So I'm just going to shuffle while I focus on your question and ask your guides to draw near in order to achieve some guidance. So what I'm going to do is a 3-card spread here, and just see if there's any messages coming forward for you specifically. Be interesting to hear if you work with your spirit guide already, or spirit guides. Right, so that's interesting. You've got the Hierophant reversed, which is talking about an alternative approach to something. So something that you're doing is very unorthodox, something that you're either going about something differently, or it's like you are it's a nod from spirit to say that whatever you're doing that's alternative, that's sort of not, the Hierophant can be a card which is like, it's about can be about proper religious sort of hierarchies and organizations, and when it's upside down, it's like can be sort of pagany, it can be something that is outside of the norm. So it's like you're doing something unusual, or doing something that isn't a traditional mainstream belief. So it's like that's you doing something alternative, and it's working, because the next card that we have here is talking about the ability to let go of something. So we're looking at, your spirit guides are saying to you here that it's important for you to be able to move on from a situation. And it's like this alternative way of dealing with things that you've been following is almost giving you a lot of strength to deal with that and putting you in a position where it's going to be easier for you to move on to the next phase of your life, to leave something behind. Because, you know, obviously what's in the past is in the past, but it's really easy to live a little bit in the past, and it's really easy to let those things hold us back, or to you know, yearn for something that has passed and it's gone, and it's like it's a feeling of staying too long in a certain space without moving on. So what you're being told here is that there's this alternative practice that you have, or this unusual way of looking at things, and where you get your inspiration from is going to be the place that gives you the strength to move forward away from any negative situations that you feel like have held you back, or things that play on your mind. So, and this is a lovely card, because this man is leaving his cups behind. So he's leaving his emotions behind, and they're all upright. So they're all still holding power, and he heads for the mountains and into the sunset. So he's like he's heading for a better place. So he's having to leave those negatives behind, and he's going to a better place. He's going off into the hills, off into the sunset, and this is like he's going home. This is his place to be, and it feels like he's moving on from where he hasn't felt at home. So it's like he's never felt at home where he was. And it feels like he's finding himself, he's finding where he needs to be and moving to that place. And this alternative viewpoint is what's really driven that. So it's a really lovely combination. And then the final card that we have here is the Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is talking about decisions that have to be made, and it's talking about things that are happening really quickly. So I get the feeling that your guides are giving you here that there's a decision that's coming up that you need to make, which can feel like, because it's swords, it's a conflicting decision, and it could feel like you have to cut away the dead to make room for the new. Or it could be that, you know, there's that need to cut through the confusion, or cut through the cloudiness to see things clearly. But you have to make this decision pretty quickly. So I think what we're being shown here is that the overall picture from these three cards is your alternative views. You're moving away from something and going to a better place, going to the home of your soul, which is up in those mountains, metaphorically. And I've just seen that you've said there that you go to nature a lot, which is really interesting, because that's you know, the mountains. You don't get much more nature than the mountains. So it's obviously saying that it's a great way for you to actually move from this situation. And then the Knight is telling us that this decision that's almost upon you, again, perhaps it's this, to be able to make this decision and be able to assess your options. It's a good idea to get to that space, to move away from past influences, to look at things more alternatively in order to make this decision. So it could be that you choose a path which is something which is different to what many people would choose, but you know it's going to work out for you. I hope that resonated with you. I hope that was of use and helpful. So the next one, Rachel Rebecca in California. Hello, Rachel. Yes, you can get a reading. I'll just shuffle here. Just bear with me, and then I'll lay some cards down. And you've put also, I picked the number 5. Was that on the previous 12 card reading? Carl, I'm not sure what you mean by I picked the number 5. Was that on the previous reading that I did with the 12 cards? Just let me know. And Suncease, I'm pleased that you got something from that, and you're very welcome for the guidance. It didn't come from me, it came through me. Right, so Rachel Rebecca. Ooh, right. So you have the 10 of Wands, you have the Knight of Wands, and you have the Fool. So the Ten of Wands is talking about you feeling burdened, feeling like you have taken on a lot. It feels like you're struggling under these burdens. It feels like there's that obligations, responsibilities, having to do this, having to do that, and it feels like it's not what's in your heart. Feels like it's almost like being forced upon you, like you're having to do something. It's like the responsibilities are being put on you, the things that are weighing you down, the things that you're struggling with. It feels like you're buckling a little bit under that weight. But the good thing is with this card, the Ten of Wands. Okay, so this guy is really struggling under the weight of all these wands, so all this energy. But in the distance, there's his home, there's his castle. So this is a card that says, okay, we're acknowledging that you are struggling a little bit under these responsibilities and with these issues at the moment. But the finishing line is in sight and it's close by. So it's a card that says to you, okay, just hang on just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer, and you're going to achieve your destiny. You're going to achieve your goal. You're going to reach your destination. And that's talking metaphorically. So, you know what? It's not like you're actually walking towards a mountain with a house on top of it. It's like that represents your goal. It represents your home. It represents feeling spiritually whole. So the time will come when you can put down your burdens. The time will come when you're able to relax. You can take your foot off the gas. You can then you'll feel that you've achieved what you've been struggling to do. And I've just noticed in the chat, you've said that you read the description. It said to pick between 1 and 12. That's for the main reading when I do the 12 cards. So this bit on the end where I do the live questions from the chat, I normally do like a 3-card reading for each person. Right, so back to that, Rachel. So the next card is the Knight of Wands. So knights are very often things coming into your life quickly and things sort of arriving. And it feels to me like this is the spirit of adventure. Wands are energy, they are power, they are new things, new beginnings. It feels like this is an opportunity that's going to land on you to do something new. And this is coming in pretty fast because it's a knight and they gallop in and then they gallop off. So it's like you're being handed the wand of opportunity, and it's like this. It could be an adventure on the cards, it could be something entirely new to you, and this card is saying don't hold back from it. Don't think, oh, I'm not sure. And if you're thinking about, oh, I've had so much on my plate and I've had so many different things to deal with, could I actually take on something new? Don't forget that this card is coming to an end. So this destination has been reached, the goal is going to be reached, and this is something new that comes along, and it's like it's going to give you a new lease of life. So it's sort of it tells you that it's something completely new. It's something that doesn't feel like a burden. It's something that gives you energy rather than taking it away. So whatever that thing is, what you're being advised to do here is to embrace it. Now, this also works really well with the next card that I pulled for you, which is the Fool. So the Fool, if you look at the illustration on the Fool, this is a young man and he's stepping out over a cliff. He's got a little white dog barking at his feet, but he's blissfully unaware. What this card can indicate is stepping out into something new, starting something fresh, a new adventure. So you've got 2 cards here which talk about adventure. The Fool brings an energy of joy, of experiencing something new with new eyes, with it being a new phase of your life, with new people, new significant people coming into your life. And it's like that feeling where you're stepping out, you're going to do something different. A word of warning with the Fool, that the little dog barking at his heels there is just a little nudge to say, be careful about being too impulsive. So just like the illustration, the Fool is stepping out on a new adventure and the little dog's trying to warn him, hang on a minute, there's a cliff, you're about to walk over the top of it. So it's like, do although things will feel like they're going pretty fast with your night, with this new sort of opportunity being given to you, it's a little voice that's saying, make sure you cross the T's and dot the I's, look at the details, don't just fly straight into it, because it's your enthusiasm is going to carry you forward here. Make sure you listen to friends. So the little white dog here is symbolic of friends and good advice. So make sure that you keep grounded, because it's going to be really easy to almost like get carried away with this, because it feels like such a change from your 10 of Wands, which is, you've been feeling like oppressed, downtrodden, too much on. So it's such a massive change going from that to the news of this to the actual adventure, that it would be really easy to get carried away and to sort of plunge into it without considering all the different sort of details around that. So Rachel from California, I hope that resonated, and I'd love to hear about this adventure, which is on the cards for you to turn up really soon. So it has been lovely to speak to you this morning, all of you, and to all of you who see this video in the future. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm a very new channel. This is a very new channel. I've been doing tarot for decades. I always wanted to do a YouTube channel, I had for ages, but I was too not confident with doing it on camera, and worried what people would say, and worried about, you know, would it work and everything. And now that I've been doing it for a month or so, I'm loving it. But I need more subscribers so the video gets pushed out more, so more people can see it, because it's really addictive to do it. It's just like really, really nice. And I love tarot, and I enjoy doing the readings every morning at 10:30. So I'll see you again in the morning. Please share the video, please subscribe, and stay weird.